back to Beer Drinkers. We've got an exciting episode for you today.
Yes, we're going to show you how to prep ribs, smoke ribs, and eat ribs, basically. And Britt will put in some nice, helpful tips to make sure that they are extra delicious and hopefully award-winning someday for you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these ribs are gonna blow your neighbors away. So stay tuned. Whoa, look at that! All right, now I'm going to show you how to trim this. We've got a big hunk of ribs right here, and what I like doing is trimming it down so it's a St. Louis cut. It's a beautiful rib to cook on the grill. Now watch this. To trim your ribs and create a beautiful St. Louis style spare, position the ribs with the bone side up. Then use a sharp knife to cut the length of the slab. You're going to be cutting through the cartilage just above the top of the bone.
Okay, since Britt has trimmed it all up, I'm going to talk to you about pulling the membrane, which is kind of the thin skin on the back side of the ribs. We always pull ours just so that the rub and everything gets directly onto the meat versus just on the membrane, which is difficult to eat as well. So usually we use a fork, try to get between the membrane and the meat. You kind of just start pulling it up. We also use paper towels. Once we kind of have a little bit of I don't know, a flap, I suppose, you're going to pull with the paper towel, and hopefully you get a good size piece like I am right now.
Yeah, that's a good one right there.
It is. You pull all the skin off of it and you just discard that into the trash. The paper towels help because it's hard to grab the skin with just your hand. So we just grab paper towels, start pulling it off. It looks like I have a little bit left here on the end, and we should be good to go on this particular rack.
Yeah, and sometimes it's really good just to take that fork and you can put it down on the bone itself and just kind of work it underneath that membrane right along that bone. And it makes it easier just to, pop that stuff right off.
So that's it. That was how easy it was.
Looks good. Use a fork to poke through the skin between the ribs. You're just going to poke along and kind of make it look like you're making a dotted line. This is going to help to break down the connective tissue once you cook the ribs. Hey, okay, now we're gonna take our ribs. We're gonna put our rub on, and when you're putting the rub on, you want to hold it about 6 inches above the meat or so. That way, when you sprinkle it on, you're not getting globs of rub in any one place. You're getting really good coverage. It's key. Although I don't think it's necessary, you can use mustard as a binding agent. Just rub it on the ribs on both sides, and then go ahead and sprinkle the rub on your ribs. It's easiest to hold the rub about 6 inches high during the application. And don't forget to roll those ribs up. As you see right about here, we just roll them up and then sprinkle rub all over the top, flip them over, sprinkle it all over the bottom. You just want to make sure you get good coverage. All right, so we've got that one rack of ribs wrapped up, it's ready to go. We'll put that in the fridge, let it ride the fridge overnight, and then we're going to get going on the other racks of ribs that we've got, because we're not just cooking one rack, we're going to cook 4 or 5. We're going to make it worth our while. But something else you can do, this excess meat, you thought I was just going to throw it away in the trash? Well, no sir, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to trim out some of the bones. There's some bones and connective tissue and whatnot in there. We're going to get rid of that, but there's still a lot of meat candy there. You do the same thing. You trim it down, make it real nice, throw some rub on it, and throw it in the smoker. And it's going to end up cooking a little bit faster than your ribs are, so you have a little taste as you're going. It's good stuff. All right, just throwing on that last rib. These are going to be good. If you're looking, then it ain't cooking. Hey, look here, barbecue hero. After an hour and a half of cooking at 225 degrees Fahrenheit, go ahead and mop the ribs with a mixture of 50-50 margarine and barbecue sauce. What that's going to do, it's going to help with that bark. It's going to help make it so it's still a little tender. Here we go, putting on our first mop. And once we're done mopping these ribs, we're going to let them cook for another 30 minutes. We're going to flip them. We're going to mop them again on the bottom side. We're going to let them cook for 30 more minutes. And then we'll flip them again and mop the top side. Any questions? This is a great time to go grab another beer. After 3 hours total cooking on the smoker, go ahead and pull the ribs off. They ought to have a nice mahogany color, and we can wrap them up in foil. I like throwing a little Thai sweet chili sauce down. Gives it a real nice twang. Then you wrap those ribs up. What I do is I take the far side and the near side of the foil, and I kind of roll them down and roll them together. And then I roll up the left and right side. And what that does is it makes it easier for me to peek on them later, just to make sure they're done. Go ahead and load the ribs up, meat side down in your smoker, and let them cook for about an hour to an hour and a half, or until the meat starts pulling back from the bones. Don't overcook them. Once the ribs are done, it's time to sauce them, and then throw them back on the smoker for about 10 minutes just to set the sauce. Whatever you do, don't serve your neighbors or the judges crappy looking ribs. So make a nice cut when you're separating them. Get an electric knife or get a really sharp brisket knife. Flip the ribs bone side up. And oh my gosh, will you look at that smoke ring? Yeah, anyway, flip them bone side up and start making your real nice cuts. While you're cutting away, it's a perfect opportunity to enjoy a beer and taste some of the samples. Now go pat yourself on the back. You've done a great job. You made some darn good ribs, and all your neighbors are happy. And I'm sure they'll be talking about them for months. Hey, hope you all enjoyed the ribs episode. If you've got any questions, just leave your question down in the comments section below, and we promise we'll get back to it right away. And be sure to subscribe to our video podcasts. That way you never miss a single exciting episode. So until next week, or whenever we release another video, drink beer, mostly craft beer, but not too much. Thanks.